Hey everyone, it's Matt from HowToMotorcycleRepair.com. In today's video I just want to cover taking apart and lubing this Morgan Vise. This Vise is a Morgan 135 with a swivel base, made right here in Chicago. That's where I'm from, well, the suburbs of Chicago, and this one here dates back to, I believe, pre-47. I think after 47 they moved to Aurora, which is a south suburb of Chicago, and then I think in the 70s or something like that they moved to Milwaukee. So all of which is very local to here. It's, you know, made in the U.S., high quality Vise, as compared to the Craftsman that I'm replacing. I don't know if you've seen some of my other videos. You know, I've been using this little Craftsman Vise that I bought 15-20 years ago, and I finally cracked an ear off on the base, and the swivel just got all messed up, and frankly I was done with it. You know, I wanted something better. So anyway, under this video there'll be a blog post that is a good resource for vices. It's a thread on GarageJournal.com, and those guys really put together a nice thread of all the information on vices, from which are good brands, what to look for when you buy one, how much should you pay, the colors, taking them apart. I mean, it's just a lot of useful information. And I went through there, and I definitely wanted to buy a decent Vise. So what we're going to cover today is how to take this one apart, well, mostly apart, about 80%, just enough to clean it and lube it. And as you can see here, I got some paste wax and some Permatex anti-seize. And lastly, I want to cover how to mount this to my new workbench here. About 2 months ago I built this new workbench, so I'm going to go ahead and mount it. Alright, before we start, how about we go over a couple quick tips on you know, what to look for when you're buying a used Vise. First off, right here you can see that this is not an anvil surface. This is just the whole jaw, the dynamic jaw that moves, and you want to make sure this is in decent shape. Someone did definitely pound on here, you know, working metal or something over here, but it's not too bad. There's no burrs or anything, and it's rather thick right here. I mean, you can see how thick it is right here, so I wasn't too concerned about that. It swivels really nice when you lock it down. You know, it's nice and firm. There's no slop in it. You want to test the dynamic jaw. You should be able to spin it with one finger like this. You want to make sure the jaws close even and tight, and also check the condition of the jaws. You can see here that it has plenty of serrations left. I mean, it's just, they're in good shape. There's no cracks, no welds. It's not rusty. It could probably use a blast and a paint, but I'm really not concerned about that right now. Also, you want to make sure that this bar is not bent. That would mean that someone would put a cheater bar on it or a hammer and just really ding it up. So this thing's pretty straight, so it means it wasn't that abused. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove the dynamic jaw. All you got to do is crank it out. So that just comes right out. All it is a screw in here. And something I'm not going to take apart, but if you had one that was in rough shape and you needed to take it apart further to blast it or whatever, you can see there's a screw right here, and then this whole lead screw should come out. And this was a little rusty when I got it. I just hit it with a wire wheel, and then I put everything in the solvent tank to clean it up. Alright, so now the swivel base. So just go ahead and you're just going to want to swivel it until you get this lined up. So that drops out. And then remove the center nut. And that's it. So it's very simple. One more thing that I'm not going to remove is this right here. And how you remove that is you just pop this pin out, which is right here. It's a tapered pin that goes in there. So this is how I got the vise. You know, I just cleaned it up in the solvent tank, hit these surfaces with a wire wheel, and now it's time to lube it. So as far as lube, a lot of guys like to use anti-seize on the lead screw. This Permatex stuff, I believe, has anti-seize in it, so it's really nice to use there. You can also use a wheel bearing grease or any extreme pressure grease. And I'm just going to apply a little bit on here. Just using it sparingly. I don't think it, you know, a little bit goes a long way. This stuff gets everywhere, so I'm just trying not to. Alright, for all these bare metal surfaces, I'm going to use some paste wax. Enriches, beautifies, and protects wood, metal, leather, and plastics. And the idea here is it's not going to attract dirt, dust, and grime, and then you know, cause the vise to operate kind of sluggish. So this stuff should hopefully prevent that. Alright, so a little bit on a rag, and then I'm just going to work it into the metal here. And I'm going to use this stuff on the base as well. See how that works. Alright, so when you put this back in, just kind of line the screw back up. Alright, as far as mounting is concerned, it's pretty simple, but let's cover the basics. You're going to want to position the vise as far forward as possible so you have clearance for an odd piece of stock such as this one. So the static jaw should just be ahead or in front of your workbench here. So if I had a long, round bar like this, there's a little bit of clearance between the bar and the workbench, so you can utilize this vise for all sorts of shapes. Also, since it's a swivel vise, you're going to want to position all the way to the edge of the workbench. So this ear is at the very end of the bench, so that way I can have pieces of metal out here as well. Now ideally I wouldn't like it next to my compressor closet here, but I can always move it to the other side of my workbench, but then it's near my car, it's near my Chevelle, so I don't want to accidentally damage the car if I'm doing something. So that's pretty much it as far as mounting. One more thing. Since this is a swivel base, you don't know where the three screws go. Well, there's one directly in the back, and then there's two on the sides here. And I'll get another shot of that, but basically that's pretty much it. This bolt here is a lag bolt, and it goes into the 2x4 member on the side of the workbench. And then these two go through the plywood, which is 3/4 thick, and then I put a piece of 2x4 here at a 45-degree angle to match these pieces of wood, and I bolted it straight through, so that just gives me a little more durability, I think. So overall, let me tighten the swivel here. But overall, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, it's going to get to the point where I'm wobbling my workbench, so this is pretty sweet. And now with that anti-seize on there, it just works really nice. And there's little to no slop in this slide, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. One thing I'm going to have to get is some soft jaws for this, or covers. On my Craftsman, I was using just these angled aluminum plates here, which I'll have to chop down to 3.5 inches. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this vise. Alright, so that's it for this video. It's Matt from HowToMotorcycleRepair.com. Subscribe to my channel, like this video,